The motivation is weak. This is a 1990 325iX sedan. Actually, I do like the fact it's Diamond Shorts. I like the fact that it's a sedan. However, it's an automatic, and the automatic apparently is having issues. I don't know. I didn't even really try driving it. But the guy wants a stick. I have this from my silver iX, which if you've been watching for at least 4 years, you probably saw running and driving. I parted it out fairly recently. And this has a good transfer case, which is really, really rare. These early iX cars they're just kind of hard to find parts for. So I have a huge parts cache, of course, just because that's who I am. These are the same 5-speed trans. It's a Getrag 260. It's just like that one that we took out of that red $100 E30 a couple weeks ago. But they're bolted with a different tail housing to a transfer case, which is made by ZF. The entire all-wheel drive system in this car is made by ZF. Front rear drive shafts are the same between the auto and manual, which is nice. So this right here is a manual swap. It's this unit, pedals, hydraulics, and clutch and flywheel. I grabbed one from home just because the one we took out of that E is kind of an unknown quantity after sitting so long. Then I also grabbed a release bearing, because there is one on there, but the clutch in that silver iX got like thermonuclear hot, so not going to reuse that. Let's see what else. Nothing really too special. So really we'll start pulling the exhaust off, and I put penetrating oil on these. Hold on. I put penetrating oil on these yesterday. They're looking really good. This is a Pennsylvania car. We'll pull off the O2 sensor. Pull off the 10 mils here, which hold the exhaust up to the transfer case. Actually, maybe we'll just pull the 13s out in case we can reuse it. Once the exhaust is off, I got these as well, the penetrating oil. Then goes heat shields back here, pretty easy. And then we'll unbolt the transfer case. Then we'll get the rear drive shaft out. And then it gets a little bit tougher. The way I've done it in the past is unbolting the diff from the oil pan and moving that around just a little bit, but that's kind of tough to get the front drive shaft out. So what I think I might do is try to unbolt the transfer case from the trans, which I think is a little bit easier. And then that will allow the drive shaft to just stay in the car, basically. And then I can consider doing the same thing for this. It was pretty easy for me to take it out in one chunk because I had the whole thing on a pallet and I could just pry bar it apart. So we'll kind of see how that goes. And it's also a little bit lighter, and I've got this crappy trans jack that doesn't get very low. So then obviously draining the trans. I do have to pull, there's a throttle cable on the top of the transmission, on top of the intake manifold, that we have to unbolt and set down aside, otherwise that will tear and do really bad things. Then we'll have to come up here. Oh, where is it? I think maybe we pull this off, or yeah, it's gotta be this. So we have to be able to get at the torque converter bolts. It's been a long time since I've worked on one of these. I'm guessing, yeah, we'll probably pull that off. Wow, this is gonna suck. Then we'll pull the trans off, and then it's pretty standard after that. Oh shoot, I need a pilot bearing. I didn't bring one down. Not good. Hopefully I can get my roommate to stop at my house and bring one down. It's always something, I swear. But fairly straightforward process. I'm gonna try to get it all done tonight. We'll see what happens. It's the guy's only car, so I'm gonna try not to drag my feet too much. But it's also an iX, and I hate iXs because they're terrible, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Well, quick update, since I have to wait for this thing to slowly drain just a bit more. I've got the shifter cable undone. Just put a 13 wrench on the back side, 13 socket on the front side. This will slip right out. Then up here you can either undo the bracket if yours is less rusty, or you could just take a pair of wrenches, loosen this up, feed it back through, and set it up to the side. Rear drive shaft is out. That process is basically you take the 17s off the back of the drive shaft first, And then come up here, undo all the bolts on the back companion flange of the transfer case. Then the drive shaft collapses and it can come out. Front drive shaft, undo all the bolts again on the guibo. And then you're gonna have to push the entire thing into the transfer case. Then you can take out the guibo and the spacer shim. Then you can slide the drive shaft forward again and pull it out. If you have an auto, it's gonna be tough to feed it through there, but it's definitely doable because the dipstick tube normally goes beneath it. And this trans cooler line goes above it. So that's the one I'm currently draining. I still have yet to do any bell housing stuff. There is, where is it? A little 10 mil up there that holds the dipstick tube to the trans. I have to reach up there and undo that. Oh, yep, non-threaded starter life. So we still got to deal with all that too. And then on this, it's been a while since I've done an IX. I can't figure out how, I'm guessing this piece will come out around the oil pan so I can get at the torque converter bolts, but it's tight. So got a couple of bell housing bolts on the bottom I will undo when I drain the, well, actually I probably won't pull the dipstick tube. But anyway, yeah, regular bell housing bolts. It's actually interesting. You can get at this one way better with an IX than you can on a rear wheel drive. Everyone forgets that old 10 mil, don't forget that. And then it's just standard bell housing stuff. I do have a couple of friends, well, a friend and my roommate, or roommate and ex-roommate, I guess, coming down here to give me a hand with the trans and transfer case. I can get it onto the rolly thing, no problem, but I'm not gonna be able to lift this off or lift the new one on. They're just a little bit too heavy for safety. So that's kind of where I'm at. I haven't done anything interior-wise yet, haven't put the pedal box in yet. However, the pedal box is going to be super easy. That little plug right in the middle of the screens where the slave cylinder comes out, this little lip already in the sheet metal is for the clutch line. Again, super easy. God, this thing is just covered in axle grease. It's so disgusting. Both inner boots are torn and just shooting it everywhere. I hate IXs so much. Yeah, next steps are really going to be just try to get the converter bolts out. If I can't, just fucking pull the trans with the converter still on the motor and then deal with it. After I undo the dipstick tube, of course. And then it'll be time to do probably the pedal set first. A bunch of little stuff here and there. So I'll try to do a couple more segments here. It's pretty straightforward. The IX is better in a lot of ways and worse in a lot of ways when you manual swap. Just because of how afterthoughty and terrible it is. So, but I gotta say, man, this is the cleanest IX I've ever seen up in this this part of the country. I think the guy said it's from Pennsylvania, so that makes sense. But yeah, there we are. Gross. So we're getting ready to unbolt the automatic oh crap. Yep. So we already unbolted the automatic transmission, which. This bolt is the worst thing in the entire world of BMWs. That took like 2 hours. Everything else was fine. There's the Bowden cable I was talking to you about earlier. There's a little 10 mil on that bracket that you got to take off there, otherwise it won't clear anything. So yeah, we got the single mass flywheel in, the clutch kit in. We've got new release bearing, everything greased up and cleaned. Everything's slid in okay. We did have to disconnect the back of the selector rod, and I'll turn on the flash here, hold on. We did have to disconnect the back of the selector rod to get the shifter in there during installation, but then we reconnected it. So that's all fine. Next steps are gonna be installing clutch hydraulics and then mounting the back bracket there. You can see the little black holes up at the top there. That's what they go through, just standard M8 hardware. Other than that, we'll bolt it up, then we'll do front drive shaft, rear drive shaft, heat shield, exhaust, and then a tiny bit of wiring for reverse lights, which I'll get to tomorrow. This got a little late tonight, so finished up tomorrow. But yay, it's a manual, and up in that hole there is a shifter. So we are making progress. All right. Okay, another little bit closer. I actually learned a fun fact today. The brake pedal is different on the iX and the rear wheel drive. It's due to the steering column. So just swap that over and cut it down, no big deal. Heat shields back in, both drive shafts in, tightened, guibo done, shifters in, clutch is in, clutch is bled. Gotta move all my tools again, of course, before I put the lift down. All in all, this didn't go too poorly. The old clutch hydraulics fought a little bit, but really not too bad. I do kind of miss the airlocks on my old rotary. When I put in the shifter, I didn't think to orient it, or orientate, however you say that, and I actually took it back out and put it in what I thought was forward, turned out to be backward. When you put the transmission up, it was basically too far into the front dash. So there's a new clutch fluid feed line. There's our shifter. I'll try to fix the ghetto pedal if I have some time. Luckily it didn't modify it at all, it just... So that works. Clutch is light, but honestly feels pretty decent, so I hope that it's okay. I don't know, it feels better with my right foot than it does with my left. So anyway, I've got some cleaning up to do. I also have to wire in the reverse lights, just match the colors, really. It's really super easy. And after that, I'll put on the shift boot, after I get rid of these little tabs for the auto shifter. Luckily, the customer supplied me with 2 usable items, so I'll throw away all the automatic crap. Bolt the consoles back together, and we'll be good for a test start. Manual swap wiring, super easy. Cut the plug off of both. All the green wires go together, which looks like I didn't do a great job with. And then the blue wire from the reverse switch and the blue wire from the chassis also go together. Well, she's open headers, but I gotta know. Sweet. Alright, so once more with the exhaust. Yay! Well, I'd say we go for a drive. Wonder if my garage door opener will work or not. Did I have the key? I did. Of course, the opener doesn't work though. Alright. Gotta do this the old-fashioned way. It's like 10 degrees outside, Fahrenheit. I'll lose all my heat. Sure hope it moves. Sure does. We'll take her for a quick test drive. Don't tell anyone I was driving an iX. Oh yeah, definitely has 410 diffs. Okay, it actually drives pretty nice for an iX. Brake light switch is working. Nice. This thing is solid. I gotta shift into third. Oops. Oh, dude, that red light in the distance, that's my unit. What's up? This trans still shifts super nice. This is out of, like I was saying, my silver IX. That thing had a rough life. The old throwout bearing was really, really crunchy just because of how thermonuclear that clutch was. But no, this thing's ace. A+. Very exciting. Good, good, good. Put my window back up. I'll take her out of here. Well, it's an IX, but at least I saved it from a life of automatic.